I mean, for me, because of my grandfather dying, I'm constantly chasing a bedside I'm never going to catch. But there are also, there's stories where people die, and those stories are terrible. But there's a couple of stories, and this is, life is so precious, and we all take advantage of it. And I remember this was like last year. I get a phone call in the middle of the night. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning. Dr. Rutland, we need you to go to labor and delivery. And when you go to labor and delivery, it's like never a phone call as an ICU doc that you want to have, because you've got mom and baby. And sometimes you got to make a decision. So I go to this bedside. This lady's probably 9 months pregnant, and she can't breathe. And she's really short of breath. And her chest x-ray showed significant what we call pulmonary edema. That means fluid in the lung, okay? Anesthesiologist is at the bedside. And at that time, the anesthesiologist at the bedside was my college buddy. He was in my classes at college. Totally random. I went to UC Davis. He went to UC Davis. And we're both in Newport Beach at this time. And go to the bedside, and he is tripping. Like, man, I gotta get her to the OR. I don't know what to do. And I remember looking at, and her husband's there, right? And I remember looking at him, and I was like, hey, relax. Like, this only can go one way. We're either gonna do this and everybody's gonna be fine, or we're gonna do this and one person's not gonna be fine, or both people aren't gonna be fine, but it has to be done. So I was like, relax. So I intubate this girl. She's 29. And she's just got fluid pouring from the endotracheal tube, just pouring. And we can't get her oxygen saturation up, right? That's what this represents above the A there. We can't get her oxygen saturation up. It's like 60. So we run her to the OR because we're going to take the baby out. When this happens, you got to take the baby out. So we're running to the elevator. Elevator doesn't work. I was like, oh my God.
This has happened to me so many times too.
So then we got
the elevator.
Run to this other elevator. I'm bagging her. Still fluid coming up. She's saturated like 65. Get to an elevator that works. Get down to the operating room. Give me the bronchoscopy. Bronchoscopy is when I take a video scope, I go into the endotracheal tube, and I just suction fluid. So that's what I did, right? I get the bronchoscopy. The obstetrician's down there doing a C-section to get the baby out. Baby comes out. Baby's blue, but then fine. I'm suctioning all this fluid from this lady's lung. Her saturation's improving. Everything starts to kind of stabilize and improve. I mean, this lady almost died, but she didn't. So we get her back to the intensive care unit. Shifts over. Everything's good. I told her husband, I was like, listen, we're not out of the woods, but she's doing okay. We'll see what happens.
And you're in professional mode, right?
I'm in professional mode.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not.
There's not emotional.
I just don't. Like, I don't get super emotional.
Ever?
No. Because for me, it's like I said earlier, I got to be able to handle somebody dying, not doing well, or handle somebody that's going to die or about to die, and then deal with the person in the next room. I can't, for me, I can't have the emotion of it, because I got to be able to handle things, be calm, explain, talk to family, and go from this room to the next room to the next room. And if I got emotional, it would be very hard for me to go from room to room, do the rapid response, go take care of the person in the ER. But I'll
How
say,
do you not?
It's hard. But I'll say this, just to end that story. 2 days later, I'm back in the hospital. I'm like, I'm going to go see how she's doing. I go into the room. She's got her baby. She's smiling, laughing. And I was like, hey. I was like, how are things going? She's like, oh, you're Dr. Rutland. I said, yeah. She's like, yeah, I heard I was really sick the other night. And I looked at her. I said, you have no clue. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Have no idea.
Like, just no idea.
Yeah.
Like, that people get that sick. But I think the reason I don't get emotional, honestly, is for nights like that. When my buddy is sitting there, he's anesthesia. Anesthesia is airway, calm, like deal with emergencies in the operating room.
And he was panicking.
And he was just panicked. And I just feel like in that moment, like, I can't be that way. And it's so hard because it affects so many aspects of my life because I'm that way.
I can't not be emotional. And I hear you, because whether you're the ICU nurse or you're the doctor, you have multiple patients. So you're going into one patient's room that is dying. You're taking care of the family. You're deciding how the rest of that day is going to look, knowing that they're probably going to pass. And then you're exiting that door and walking into the next door. And you have to have a smile on your face. You have to take care of that patient in a completely different manner than the room. And you're going back and forth all day, 12 hours, back and forth through that emotional barrier. But I can't turn it off personally. Like, I couldn't turn off. I could exit the room and go into the next room and, like, you know,
Be professional.
be professional. There's a balance there. I think that's a gift in itself, is being able to go from having an emotional connection with your patient and family, and then also balancing the professional side of things.